I would like to ask here to the podium Mr. Ziad AbuZayyad. He also has been a part of the peace process over the years. He was the head of the Palestinian team at the beginning to the multilateral talks, and he was also in various senior positions in the Palestinian Authority, including a minister in the Palestinian government, and he's now a co-editor of a journal that is on political and sociological issues between Israelis and Palestinians. And please, Ziad, please come forward. Robin, he also understands Hebrew, so they will speak whatever the language they want, but that's why I'm introducing them in Hebrew, because they understand. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I was hesitant to come, and I thought, why should I go there and speak? But I must say that Shlom Brom is a good friend of mine, and I could not say no to him. I'm afraid that I may disappoint many of you because I don't have anything new to say to you. But in all cases, I will use the time which was offered to me and say what I think. I believe that the issue of Palestine-Israel peace is becoming an issue for intellectual exercise. That we come here, we make papers, we make researches, we discuss them, and the problem is that we are far from the reality, because the reality is totally different from what we can put on paper or what we can debate and discuss and argue about. And I'm trying here to show you how I see this situation as a Palestinian. So, as a Palestinian, I may be different than other speakers here, and I assume that you know that I'm not coming here to speak as a Zionist, but as a Palestinian. In my view, there is a difference in the approaches and the concept of both sides about the solution of the conflict. And what's happening now, you know, you say it's not important what the Goyim say, it's important what the Jews do. And what's happening now in the West Bank, that there are some people who say it's not important what Yafei HaNefesh say, Ve'ana'ivim, but it's what the pioneers, the nationalists, do on the ground. And what they are doing on the ground, they want to achieve the dream of the land of Israel, the greater land of Israel. And when I go around in the West Bank and I see the settlements creeping and expanding, and yesterday I was driving from Ramallah through Hizma, and I saw how the settlement of Talmon is now creeping towards the military camp in Anatot. And I said to me, well, I will not be surprised if in 1 year or less or more, this military camp will be also converted to part of the settlement. So they are creeping everywhere and expanding everywhere. I have a news service on my mobile phone, and I assure you that every day I receive tips on my telephone about attacks carried by settlers against Palestinian villagers, whether setting fire in olive trees, groves, or in fields, or attacking them, or throwing stones on Palestinian cars, or terrifying the Palestinians in their villages and the places where they live. In other words, you in Tel Aviv, you don't know that there is a war now conducted on the ground in the West Bank between fanatic settlers attacking Palestinians and trying to make their life a hell, and creating daily facts on the ground to undermine any possibility of a political solution to the conflict. And here we come and speak about options. And, well, options, they need a will. I subscribe with most of Ambassador Dinin said. Yani, sit and wait. Sit and wait is actually the reality which is taking place now on the ground. It's not an option. It's what's happening. And if we sit, others are not sitting. They are working hardly. It's a machine, changing facts on the ground, denying and ignoring my existence. I'm not existing. For them, I'm nothing. I'm not existing. They cannot understand that there are in the West Bank 2.5 million Palestinians in the West Bank. And these people, whatever you do, you cannot make them evaporate or disappear from the reality. They are there. And you are continuing the process to undermine any possibility of disengagement between the occupied territories and Israel. When the Palestinians speak about a political solution, their position is that they are talking about a Palestinian state on the borders of the 4th of June 1967. And when they say that they accept a Palestinian state on the lines of the 4th of June 1967, they have in their background the understanding that they are giving up 78% of Palestine. You cannot make them understand or change their mind and think that you are so generous and you are making charity by giving them 20 or 18 or 15% of Palestine, which now they speak about the percentage related to the West Bank and say 90%, 80%, 94%. They don't understand it that way. They understand that they were engaged in a peace process, assuming that Israel would be satisfied with the land which they created Israel on them in 1948, that the Israelis will withdraw from the West Bank and Gaza and East Jerusalem. They made another step forward when they accepted the principle of land swap. But on the Israeli side, you don't understand it that way. You understand it that all this is the land of Israel, and whatever we give for the Palestinians, they must thank us and feel happy because we are generous by giving them bakshish. And I can understand that. You know what? Sometimes I think every Israeli who is 50 years old and below, he doesn't know Israel with the borders of 67. He was born and he knows Israel with the border of the River Jordan. And if I was an Israeli, maybe it will be difficult for me to give up any part of my land to the Palestinians, especially if I was brought up at home and in school and then yeshiva and the army and on all the educational forums in Israel that this is my national land and I should not give it to the foreigners. But I'm trying to say that there is a process going on, whether inside the Israeli society, on a national level and religious level, and extending to the West Bank, trying to say that this is my country, this is my land, I will not go out of it, and the hell with the Palestinians. But on the other hand, there are Palestinians there who will not accept this situation, who will not give up, who will not surrender, and one day they have to defend their mere existence, personal existence. And so the option of sit and wait, it's the most dangerous thing happening on the ground. And unfortunately, I don't see any other thing which could be done. Unilateralism? Well, I read something about coordinated unilateralism. So it's not unilateralism, it's negotiations. When Sharon withdrew from Gaza, I was minister in Arafat government, and we tried to convince Sharon to make the disengagement from Gaza as part of the peace process and to present it to the Palestinian people that it is an achievement of the moderate Palestinian leadership. And Sharon said, I am a military man, and I'm not used to coordinate my military actions with my enemy. So the hell with you, I will not coordinate with you. And what the Israelis call it, unilateral withdrawal from Gaza, it's not withdrawal. You left Gaza, but you still have control on the borders of Gaza. So you turned Gaza to a detention camp. And at the same time, you gave Hamas the argument that they kicked the Israelis out of Gaza, and this came at the background of the unilateral withdrawal from South Lebanon, and this contributed very much to the success of Hamas in the elections of 2006. So you are betraying your partner, you are discrediting him, and you are undermining him because you don't see him as a partner. In our situation, I'm sorry to say that I don't see any way out of this situation. You know what? I spoke with a good friend here in this room before coming inside, and he said, it's possible. I said, yes, it's possible, but it needs will. If I see that the Israeli government is not able to evacuate outposts, can anyone convince me that they will be able to evacuate settlements? I told him about the story of an old man who went to a nightclub, and the belly dance was teasing him and trying to seduce him. And then she asked him, you don't like me? He said, I like you. You don't want me? I want you. So what are you waiting for? He said, I can't. And this is our situation. We want peace, we want a settlement, but we can't. You can't do it. I cannot imagine that under the current political circumstances in Israel, that there is a political leader who can come out and take decision to evacuate settlements and can go ahead with the decision. On the contrary, I see that the settlers in the West Bank and East Jerusalem are becoming a strong electoral power, that all the political parties in Israel are now courting the settlers and trying to have their votes. So how do you want me to believe that there will be a solution, a political solution? It's not a question of lack of confidence. It's a question of reality. We are negotiating about the West Bank. And you continue eating the West Bank slice after slice, slice after slice. What will remain for me if you continue eating it and I continue talking to you about a political solution to the conflict? You only show my people that I am stupid, that I am naive, that you are fooling me and you are using me as a cover to continue your national program of the greater land of Israel, Israel swallowing the West Bank. Shlomo in his paper says that the imposed solution is not a good solution, and he said something which sounded for me very interesting. He said that a good solution for Israel is a solution which should Israel control the process, should be less dependent on the Palestinians, less dependent on the international community, less dependent on regional factors. This situation will never happen. It will not bring peace. This is something that you want to tailor according to your measures. And you don't tailor anything for me. I'm not there. You want to do something which suits you. This will not work. This will not bring peace to any of us. I believe that if there will be any solution for this conflict, the only way is an imposed solution, because we failed to achieve any agreement bilaterally. You have unlimited appetite for land and for expansion. And with your unlimited appetite, I don't see any chance for me to have a share in this land. So you are pushing me towards a situation where it may burst out and I have to defend myself by all possible means. And maybe at the end of this situation in this area will become a hell for both of us. Maybe there will be a third party which will try to force us to accept a settlement to the conflict. In the current conditions, I don't see any other option. Thank you.